Excel offers a rich variety of charting options, but sometimes we don't want a full-blown chart on our page. We just want some sort of graphical indicator of which values are higher and which values are lower. In this situation, the conditional formatting of data bars is extremely useful. Let's say within these very large numbers here, I want some sort of indication of which ones are the higher. Not only that, but I want a bit of a trend. I want to be able to visually see which of the numbers are bigger and by how much. To apply data bars, I again select the area that I want to work with, go to Conditional Formatting, find data bars. Within data bars, I can either fill with a gradient fill or with a solid fill. Again, like many other formatting options, this is a question of preference. In this situation, I'm going to choose the orange data bars to complement my orange table. Once selected, I can see effectively a mini bar chart displayed within the cells of my workbook, highlighting that here I have a very large or maximum value, and here I have some very small values. It's a very quick and easy way of getting a graphical representation of my data. And I can do this multiple times. So here I have performed one for my areas in kilometers. I could do something similar with my population. Just for contrast, I might choose red data bars. And here you can see that my population is being highlighted alongside my areas in kilometers, giving me lots of interesting visual cues. For example, I'm able to see that Sydney has a population of 7 million, while not having one of the largest surface areas. By contrast, somewhere like Western Australia has a very large expanse of square kilometres, but doesn't have the same population as Sydney. One important aspect to understand about data bars is that their calculations are made relative to the data you've selected. So for example, here we have a maximum data bar, highlighting my 7.2 million value. But this maximum data bar, it is all proportional to the data we have selected. If I chose a smaller area to implement my data bars, I would have different graphical results. Let's show a demonstration of what we mean by this. I'm now going to remove the conditional formatting from these cells. And I'm going to modify the conditional formatting applied to my population column. From within my rule, I can affect different aspects of the rule itself, but in this situation I'm interested in changing the area that it applies to. I'm going to pop out so I can select the range that I'm interested in, and I will expand it from the current column to include both columns at the same time. Now, this data representation loosely looks like what I might expect it to do, or looks something like the representation that we had before. But you will notice that now in my kilometers squared column, none of the values actually reach their full capacity. That is because this value here of 2 million is measured relative to the maximum for the whole area, which in this case is 7.2 million, whereas before, this 2.5 million was the maximum value in its own field or column. In the way that I've processed this example, it may seem obvious that this is what is happening, but it's just important to remember that this is how conditional formatting works, especially if you try and copy conditional formatting from one column to another. You may get unexpected results, and it's worth checking that your calculation is only relative to the column that you intended it to be. From here, I'm going to remove again my conditional formatting and restore the one I had before. Thus I know I have two independent fields or columns which are displaying independent data and should therefore have independent data bars. This kind of approach is also relevant to many of the other techniques we're going to have a look at in later videos, so it's worth understanding and remembering.